Hey Aaron, Rexy here. I just want to bust in real quick before we get this started and give you guys a quick little note. It has been a little bit crazy and there's been some illness going on around here, and we wanted to bring you a quilt episode of some of our very first Women of Star Wars Patreon episodes. And unfortunately, Denise can't be here with me to record this with me, so I'm doing it alone real quick. But we hope you really enjoy this.
Hey, hey! Welcome to the Sisterhood of the Traveling Bantha. We are your hosts, Denise
and Rexy, and we are recording with special support from Council Member Mark Collier.
And we're broadcasting from our galaxy to yours.
May the Force be with you.
Always. We love women in Star Wars. We feel like it is an important thing to be represented in Star Wars.
Yeah.
We love
That's why we're here. That's why we wanted to start this.
We love all characters, but we specifically love women in Star Wars.
Yes.
There are a lot of strong characters, and we wanted
to never let us down with strong female characters to feel inspired by. And inspiration absolutely defines the topic of this, our inaugural Women of Star Wars.
So with that said, sorry, I'm like, episode. I don't know.
There we go.
With that said, one of our all-time favorite female Star Wars characters, Women of Star Wars, is Princess Leia.
Like, generally,
you cannot think of Star Wars without Princess Leia.
No, our space mom.
Yes, our space mom.
Like, we love her.
Not only did she make an impact as a character, but she made an impact as a human being.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She touched a lot of lives. She touched, even beyond Star Wars, she was involved in lots of projects. She was involved in humanitarian efforts. Mm-hmm. She was very outspoken about mental health and addiction awareness and struggles. She was very open and very human with her audience.
And being very human is also a lot of what Princess Leia's attributes were. So she was very human. She looked out for others. She wanted others to be better. And so Carrie Fisher was literally one and the same with Princess Leia, in our opinion.
In our minds, in our hearts, they are the same person. They're always going to be in mind for us.
So with that, we have a wonderful quote from Princess Leia.
Yes.
It's not from the movie, so I'm assuming it's from one of the books, and it's a wonderful quote. It's become one of my favorites.
Yeah. And it definitely sums up, again, as we were saying, Princess Leia and Carrie Fisher, we feel like, as a person and as we were allowed to see her. And it says, "I would rather be a monster that believes in something, that would sacrifice everything to make the galaxy better, than be someone who sits on the sidelines and watches as if it has no consequences to them." Princess Leia Organa.
And that is literally what Princess Leia did. She stood up for everybody. She wasn't sitting on the sidelines.
Nope. She was making a difference. She was sneaking around and finding out about the rebellion before she was supposed to.
I love that.
I mean, she was doing everything she could. She set her own happiness aside often. Mm-hmm. She set her own grief aside often to make sure that the rebellion kept going, that people had what they needed, that people had hope to keep fighting. She was the rebellion.
She was. So touching back on what Crystal said, that she sought out the rebellion. If you have read any of the books, I have my books. They're right over here on the side. Princess Leia.
I can see Padme from here.
I love Padme.
Beautiful Padme.
But Princess Leia of Alderaan, they had the book. They also made it into a manga.
Hey,
I have the manga also. Okay. It was her 16th birthday going through these trials to eventually become Queen of Alderaan, when she was going to take over. What's really cool about this story, these trials, is it tested her physically and mentally and emotionally. And I think that's one of the great things that turned Princess Leia into who she was.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say groom. I don't like that term. But it prepared her for leading a rebellion. It really did.
Taught her how to behave with dignity. It taught her how to be a badass. It taught her how to be adaptable.
And what's also really cool about it is she had, so some of these trials, like one of them, the physical side, was she had to rely on her teammates. She had to rely on working with other people. Cool story, it ties in with Hodo also. But it created this sense of almost reliance on those around her.
Okay.
Like you can't make an impact without those helping you.
Right.
Like,
we're not solitary. You're not an island all alone, adrift at sea. You're part of humanity. You're part of the rebellion. You're part of the resistance. You're part of a team. We're working together. Everybody has their own skills. Everybody brings their own thing to the table. And if you don't work together, if you fight with each other, then those skills can't be best put to work. And she knew that, and she was very good at bringing people together and allowing them to do what they did best.
And if you also think about it, in the original trilogy, I just kind of had a little mini revelation. Talking about that teamwork, we see how she works with others, not only, and she's not afraid to put herself out there. In A New Hope, she jumps out of that cell with the blaster, shoots at the stormtroopers. Then we see her on Hoth, like she's there on the base as she's making sure everybody's escaping and getting to safety. Like
making sure everybody's going where they need to be going.
And depending on each other, and we also see it down there to blow up the base so they can go on to Endor to complete this mission.
Right. Like, she doesn't sit back and send other people. She's like, I'm going. I'm helping.
The team.
I'm part of this. I can help. I'm going to do this.
And that's what's nice is she doesn't just see herself as a princess and above everybody. She
absolutely not. She doesn't see anybody better or worse than her. Like she is just
she's a team player,
human like everybody else.
She wants to be there. She wants to be with the people, making a difference, making a change, standing up for good, standing up for what's right. And it's refreshing seeing a leader like that. Child seeing this growing up, because we grew up with it, like literally from the time we were born. Star Wars has always been in our life. Having this character to be, like, I wanted to be her.
Bonnie agrees.
Bonnie agrees.
Yeah.
But like,
and can I like interject something with that too? To say like when we were growing up, and I assume it's probably the same way. Like Disney princesses are very hard pushed at you. Like when you're a little girl, people throw Disney princesses at you. And I love Disney princesses. I love them. I cosplay as Merida. Like I love them. I'm not dogging on them at all. Thank you. But it was so cool to have a princess to be like, this is a princess that I can be like, and she doesn't push having to get married, having to have a castle, having to have your perfect fairy tale ending or whatever. She is a princess who is a badass. So at the same time, you're having these princesses being like, or these people being like, grow up, be a princess, meet your prince, live in your castle, live out your dreams. You can also be like, grow up, be a princess, fight in the rebellion, carry a blaster, learn to fight, kill stormtroopers.
Awesome to see her. She was independent. She didn't have to rely on somebody.
She depended on herself.
Was refreshing, especially so she saw a lot of tragedy in her life. She saw at 18 her entire planet get blown up.
Yeah, her literal planet.
And so
not
she
like
literally
hometown,
only
planet.
had herself to depend on.
Yep.
And she took it and she went with it, and then she became somebody other people can depend on. And she didn't let that stop her or
she didn't
derail
become bitter
from her personal mission to make the galaxy a better place.
And it would be it'd be easy to understand, right? If that would make you bitter or sad or like kind of want to drown in your grief and not want to keep fighting, right? Like it's a lot to handle. You wouldn't be able to blame them. But instead, Leia made it part of her reason for fighting. Not her reason to shut down. Her reason to fight harder. Her reason.
Welcome her.
Hey.
So, this is episode 2 of our Women of Star Wars, and we are talking all about
Padme.
I love Padme, and
too. She's
so wonderful.
fucking wonderful. She's a badass. I just finished reading the 3 Padme books.
I'm
And
almost done.
How far are you?
Are we last time?
I don't remember where that was.
I'm only like 4 or 5 chapters in. So
Okay. Well, I don't want to ruin it for you, but you know how the story goes.
She dies, right?
I mean, it doesn't change, unfortunately.
She marries Anakin.
You know the story, yeah. But it does. You get a lot of insight from Savi's point of view, and it's a little heartbreaking. So just. Yes.
But we're going to talk about Padme. Padme, the mother of Leia Organa, Luke Skywalker. It is
also a badass.
Damn shame that she did not get to meet these 2 amazing children that she had.
She would have been so proud.
Oh my god, so proud.
after reading the books, Leia mirrors her mom.
She's so much like her mother.
Both of her moms, right? Because she was raised by Rhea,
Yeah.
of course, and that's who she considered her mom. But she was so much like Padme. She was so much like her biological mother.
And in the movies, we don't see it, or in Clone Wars, the cartoon. But in the books, we learn that she actually kept her promise to Anakin to try to free his mother.
Mm-hmm.
She sent
she never stopped searching
to go and try to free him, and their first efforts of trying to free slaves didn't work out as planned, but then they grew smarter, they understood the system.
They changed how they worked, and they started being able to free people.
And that was one of her big things, is she wanted to free everybody. She
wanted people to be able to live in peace and freedom and happiness, and just be able to enjoy their lives. And so that meant that she was working against the Empire her entire life, because the Empire is working to make sure nobody can do that.
And having that goal, it's time consuming. It is literally what she lived for.
Right.
It was
completely all consuming.
It was, and that's why when she did end up having these feelings for Anakin, it was kind of caught off guard.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to touch it. Okay, so I know you haven't read this book yet. I'm 3/4 of the way through the book Brotherhood. They talk a lot about Anakin and Padme's relationship, but more from Anakin's side. But it's fun that the times that she does have with Anakin is you can see her fully relaxed.
Yeah.
And she tries to have fun, but even though she tries to have fun, she still has this this heart to help people. So there's one point in this book where her and Anakin go to do some street racing, because Anakin likes his speeders and all that stuff.
He likes
they go
speed.
to this underground market, and she starts to see how these people live, and she wants to let's buy their stuff, let's help grow their economy. And he's we're not supposed to be working, but she's I know, but and even when she's supposed to be having these relaxed times, she's still sitting there thinking of, how can I better these people?
Right.
And it's not
how can I leave this better than when I got here?
But I don't think it comes out of pity for these people. I think it comes out of a genuine love for people.
Yeah, just a want for people to be happy. I love Padme. She's amazing, and her story makes me so sad.
And it got cut short, for unnecessary reasons. I get that Anakin, he had these nightmares, she was gonna die. He wanted to do everything to protect her, but then he got paranoid because he had Palpatine,
right. He's
whispering in his ear,
and so it was a self-fulfilling nightmare.
But even at the end, she still believed there was good in him. She believed there was good in everybody. She has such hope, which is
it makes sense. If that can somehow be passed down through your DNA, it makes sense that Leia would have come out of this such a force for constant hope and constant resilience, because her mom was so resilient.
and that's where they're so similar, is that aspect of hope. And there's this quote I found talking about hope, from Brea to Leia. I think it is from, I want to say, I'm like fairly certain it's from Leia Organa, Prince of Alderaan, the book we're going to read next.
Okay.
But the quote is, as fate tried to dictate her response, as love almost devastated or diverted her from her quest, she remained the only master of her destiny. She was a beacon of hope. She gave her life for the galaxy, and through it, it seemed to become darker and darker. In the shadows, her spark remained and guided us all. That was Brea to Leia. And it's so, like, she did have all these things come towards her. Like, she did almost get, like, distracted, but she remained steadfast, and she remained to fight. She fought against separatists, and then when she even saw even when she saw the Republic start to turn and become the thing that it was against, she was even still standing up against it then. And, like,
all she wanted was the galaxy to be a good place and for everybody to be able to live their own lives. And she was very willing to lay everything she had down in pursuit of that. And she showed that. I mean, she spent her entire life fighting for things to be better.
We are going to be talking about Mon Mothma.
Yes!
Like, she was a sleeper character.
I was not expecting. Yeah, just like kind of Qui-Gon with Kenobi.
Yep.
I didn't realize, and I don't think you did either, how much we loved her until we got her. And then when we got her, it was like, oh, I like her. Yeah. She's strong. She's good. She's smart. And also, on top of that, we've both read now, because Denise got me to, the Queen's books, all the Padme books.
Yeah.
She's heavily in that, and I love her.
It's one of those where she's always just been in the background. She was in the background of A New Hope, giving the plans to blow up the Death Star. The Death Star, and then she was also in like a couple episodes of Rebels, and a couple episodes of Clone Wars too, right?
I think that you said that last time, and I don't remember. I don't remember.
I'm not the one to ask about Clone Wars because I haven't watched all of it.
I have seen it. I don't remember, but I feel like you had looked that up and you found it somewhere.
I think
she did.
It's maybe like one or two. If I am wrong, please correct me.
Yes, because we want to know. Like, we don't mind when you guys tell us that we're wrong and then tell us what the answer is. We want to know.
But we're also seeing her more in books. We saw her in the Queen series.
Yep.
We've seen
also
her
in Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
And
right?
yeah, the one that we're reading now. And we've also seen her in The Princess and Scoundrel.
Yep. So she's been popping up a lot. So,
but it's nice to see her visually in Andor. Like, I was excited to see her in Andor, but I did not expect to get so much character development from her in Andor.
Me neither. She's gone from being very, and I won't say she's stopped being classy or upright or anything like that, because I still think she very much is, but she went from that to, by the end of the episode, we saw her kind of start to get her hands a little bit dirty, and we're all wondering, like, what more might happen later.
Yes.
And so we go from that huge arc of a character, like, from completely everything's by the books to, well, I'm gonna do a little bit of shady things. The in-between has been very interesting. Sorry, I'm excited.
I know, I'm so pumped. And I love that, like, she's a very career-driven woman. She's a very driven, not just necessarily career, but she's very driven to make an impact on, like, the galaxy. Right. And I was looking it up, like, she has been a key figure throughout the entire galaxy's, like, I don't want to say like the political. Well, yeah, political. She's been very political. Like, she was very influential. She was during the Galactic Republic, so pre Clone Wars. She was a leader of the Galactic Senate. She was the leader of the Galactic Senate Loyalist faction, which promoted loyalty to the Republic. and to its leaders.
Right.
And then she was
So she's been trying to fight for the Republic in one way or another her entire career. She's never wavered from trying to do whatever is the best thing in the way that she can do best, and she does politics very well.
And then also while in the Galactic Republic, she was also on the Committee of Transportation and Construction, which if you read the Queen series, they talk a lot about the transportation because Padme was also on this and Bail.
Yep. And that's how she got to know Mon and Bail better, was from being on that committee.
And then from there, after the Clone Wars, we had the Galactic Empire. She was a part of the Imperial Senate. She may not have been liked, but I think she was respected because of what she has done, and she's always been there politically, and she's always fought for the people.
She doesn't waver. People know where she stands, and they know what to expect from her.
She's
and I think that's nice.
In that. Yeah. Like, she's very consistent.
Even if they're kind of annoyed by her, because she's always kind of poking at things that they don't want her to poke at.
She's ruffling feathers that people don't want ruffled.
Right.
They just want to go in, do their job, and leave, and she wants to go in and make a change and make a difference and leave.
She's not there to just get rich and get fat. She's there to make the galaxy a better place. Parent for sure.
He likes his sugar mama.
Man, and it was kind of wild to find out that she was married and that she was married to a guy like him.
Yes. So continuing down her influential political figure, so she was also one of the founders of the Alliance to Restore the Republic. So these are the people that fought the resistance. Or not the resistance, the rebellion.
Okay.
They were the ones fighting the Galactic Empire. They wanted to bring back restore the Republic. What the Republic stood for was being there for everybody.
I've never heard of this before. The whole thing all put together. I've heard, of course, Rebellion, Republic, Alliance. I've never heard.
And she was one of the founders of the Alliance.
Who was she with? Do you know?
I want to say Bail was there. There's a few other people.
Okay, that makes sense.
A few other people. I think, so we're reading Leia, Princess of Alderaan. All of their meetings, I'm pretty sure, are people of the Alliance to Restore the Republic.
Okay.
All their banquets.
Yeah.
I believe
I love it. Okay. Okay. Man, I love seeing that tie together. And I'm glad that we chose to read this now because it has been it's been nice. Yeah.
And then after that, she becomes the chief of state of the New Republic. The New Republic.
So she just keeps moving up into bigger positions of responsibility
and it makes
and authority. And she's such a good, she doesn't lose her cool.
Nope.
She's very logical. She doesn't just fly up a handle and do a thing. She thinks about it. She doesn't just rush in. She makes sure to evaluate what's going on and how it's going to affect people before she does anything. And so it makes sense that she would keep being given these positions.
And I love that she is the first chief of state of the New Republic, because she has been for the Republic from day one.
Yes.
From the time she stepped in as senator to I'm assuming the time she dies, she's for the Republic. She's for one and all. She wants everybody to have equal votes. She wants everybody to be free. And so it just makes sense that this progression...
Right, that she would be chosen to lead this.
Yes, and we see some of the leadership in Princess and the Scoundrel.
Yep.
She's we may have killed Vader and Palpatine, but now here's the real job. And
we're not done.
Steps up. Quickly, she starts planning, creating the public appearance that everything is safe, despite knowing that there's still going to be pushback, but we need the people to see we are moving forward,
or nobody's going to move forward.
And so
again, Star Wars does not let us down. It's a woman. The first person installed in this, it's a female. I love that. There is no, of course it's got to be a guy because it's always been a guy kind of thing. That doesn't even exist in Star Wars.
I love it. It's so great.
It's so diverse and it's so inclusive, and I just fucking love it.
Are going to be talking about the one and only Yaddle.
Yeah. And this was, as you guys probably figured out by now, August is Denise's birthday month. And birthday month means you get to pick a sticker, you pick your book, and you pick the Women of Star Wars.
Yes. And so I wanted to talk about Yaddle. This Yaddle, this woman, I aspire to have the patience that this woman has.
Yes.
And
while being peppered with a million questions, she's just like, it's okay. I got this.
the ability to be as great with children as she is.
Yep.
And
she's very adaptable. She can swing from being teacher to being face, on camera, doing interviews.
Being a badass on the battlefield.
Yep.
But like, she has it all. Like, so
we have not gotten enough of her.
I really feel like, so like, when she was first seen, the first time we seen Yaddle was in The Phantom Menace. She was on the High Council, just another Yoda species.
Just a very brief, though.
And then she disappeared. She was swapped. Yeah, she was swapped out for a different character that they could use more makeup on people rather than like the puppetry. So they swapped her out and replaced her on the High Council. And then nobody ever heard from Yaddle again. I guess maybe in the books, the legends, the essentials.
Sure, okay. But as far as any of the shows, or she never showed up in any games either, or anything?
Not really, no. Okay. Well, she was in the Lego games. You could unlock her in the Lego games to play
that's cool. Okay.
with, which is fun.
I want to get the Lego Star Wars for my Switch. I think it'd be fun.
Have it for our PlayStation, not our Switch. I don't like doing handheld.
Yeah.
No.
I wonder if it might be easier to play on the PlayStation. Either way, I want to play it.
You can always come over and play with me.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so Yaddle, yeah, we don't see her for a good while, but then, thanks to Disney, this past, like, maybe year or so, we've gotten quite a bit of Yaddle, because she was, in Tales of the Jedi, which Dallas Howard, amazing. She was also in the Living Force book by John Jackson Miller, or John Miller Jackson?
I think it's John Jackson.
I think so too. Yeah. She was also in the Battle for Jada,
yeah.
In Phase 2 of the High Republic. I have not watched this yet, but she's also in the Jedi's Youngling show.
She's everywhere all of a sudden.
Yes, and it's so great.
Really cool.
And I love that in all these roles that she's popping up in, and she's always taken on that mentor role and always teaching.
Yeah.
She doesn't like to just preach at the people. She likes people to learn the lesson, to grasp it and comprehend. And like that is one of like her main like personality traits that to me stands out is she just, I know I do this. I'm like, no, you need to do this instead of, hey, we need to do this because of this, or if you try this, this will happen. Like she's such
explaining and like helping to actually teach and actually learn instead of just, well, it's the way you're supposed to because I said so.
No, but she is like fantastic, and she specializes in training younglings, much like Yoda. Although she does not backwards speak like Yoda.
She doesn't. So that's totally just a Yoda trait.
Well, so I have some thoughts about that.
Yeah.
So like Yoda is like twice the age of Yaddle. Like Yaddle considered Yoda to be old because
that's true.
He was like 400 years younger than him.
So it could just be a change of vernacular from generation to generation.
Yeah, and there's no other council, like no other Jedi that's still around from that time, so we don't know.
We can't compare. Yeah, maybe everybody spoke that way.
Was it a way that was taught for a period? Because I know in schools and education, it's always evolving.
Right. There's trends.
Different. Yeah. So we don't.
So maybe. Okay.
Maybe I don't know. And also the whole procedures on recruitment could have changed from the time Yoda to the time of Yaddle. Like he could have been recruited or older.
Yeah.
And she was recruited as a like 4-year-old, like a younger,
before she had time to learn speech patterns, maybe
especially from like their native planet. So I don't know. So there's some thoughts on that.
It would be cool to learn more about like young Yaddle.
Yeah. That would go back further back in
Yeah. I
um,
wouldn't be mad about that.
High Republic, because in High Republic she was like 200 years old
Oh, wow.
in phase 2.
So she's like super young by Yaddle Yoda ears. Ears.
Species? Yeah, we don't know their species.
don't know.
We will never know their species.
Really?
Like, that is supposed to be like, from what I've heard, the rumors is, so when Lucas sold the franchise to Disney was to keep the species unknown.
Huh.
Them and Grogu are the only ones we've ever seen in Star Wars.
And they have no intention of telling us. Okay.
And Grogu doesn't really remember much because of the trauma.
Right. Yeah. And he's a baby.
Despite being like 50 years old.
Right. Yeah. So, So thinking about like at 50 years old is still considered a baby. You're like still in like a baby carrier. Then 200 is like, what, you're a teenager?
Yeah. And like, okay, so we talked about Yaddle. She's so good at teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I also love her optimism and trying to find the good in people. And we see that especially like with her and Dooku.
Yeah.
Like, she was trying so hard to like show Dooku the light, that it's not, because at this point when they battled, he was already out of the
He was out of the
he already
Jedi
left
Order.
the order. From what we've learned in Padawan, he left before Qui-Gon passed away.
Right. But it
Qui-Gon
wasn't
was
murdered.
Alive by Maul.
But it wasn't like he wasn't like dirt either. You know, she was still trying to show him like, hey, you don't have to do this. Like, yeah, you don't have to be a Jedi, but like,
you don't have
to be bad. Either.
Yeah. And it sucks because she's such a champion in his corner.
Mm-hmm.
And him like unaliving her is what caused him to go to the dark side.
Yep.
Because to get to the dark side, you have to unalive somebody.
Yep.
And
the fact that it was somebody that like he knew he had a relationship with, and he said she was such a champion for him, and he cut her down the way he did was brutal.
Oh man, I still want more story of Dooku.
I do too.
That's for another day.
I hope we get more. Yeah.
It's another day, but like she always saw, and even like with Chippa, if you guys have not read phase 2 of the High Republic, specifically the Battle of Jeddah, Yaddle and Chippa is like my favorite thing from Star Wars.
They're amazing.
So
Chippa is like
pure ADHD.
Oh my god.
She's not even a Padawan, but she's a youngling.
She's just following Yaddle around like non-stop questions.
And so like
non-stop.
So Chippa is like way too advanced for their age, and they had Yaddle kind of like watching over her to kind of help her like
kind of guide her a little bit,
hone in these like skills and stuff. And it's like having a child with ADHD that like just jumping all around and question after question. And she also thought she was better and smarter than everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Which she, for the most part,
she was much smarter than everybody. But Yaddle was trying to teach her like some humility and some,
Yaddle was like, yeah, stay here. She's like, I just need a break for 5 minutes. And that's what also, like, as much as Yaddle is such this like champion for people and like so patient, like it was so refreshing to see her be like, I just need 5 minutes, yo.
Like, let me just go lock myself in a closet or something. Anything I can do.
So like she was deceiving Chippa. Like, you know.
I feel like fun facts are coming.
I did not know this about Yaddle. She was skilled in a little known and deadly Jedi powers, such as the Morshiro, which is an ancient art that enables the user to slow the opponent's bodily functions to the point of death.
What?
I love the fact that this very calm, petite little
like stop your organs
can just slow your bodily functions down to death.
That's amazing.
Like,
okay,
she's very one of few that like.
Why didn't you use that Dooku? Ma'am,
No, because Jedi don't kill.
I know,
Jedi
but I
use.
just she'd still be alive.
Yeah, but they don't do that. That's not the Jedi way.
I know, and I'm wrong.
Okay, Rexy's apparently going to the dark side today. But yeah, she also was adept at listening to and understanding the will of the Force and allowed it to direct her to where she needed to be.
So that's like Yoda. I
Yeah.
wonder if that's an innate species.
I'm gonna say there are definitely some species that I feel like are more attuned to the Force than other species.
Yep.
And I don't know if that is something that Yoda and Yaddle do. She's also able to perform telekinesis using the Force, and strong enough to like lift like huge hangar doors, which I think we saw in Tales of the Jedi.
That in the Tales, yeah.
Acrobatic feats.
Flippy floppy like Yoda.
I
I bet that's a species thing too, because they're small. They're
think
compact.
so too. But like that whole like Jedi Deadly Power Force was like, yeah,
That's a shocker.
get it, girl.
You know,
Tiny but mighty.
Tiny but mighty. Yep. I think to save your life or the life of somebody else is a perfectly acceptable.
I love Yaddle. I love what she represents. I love that she's this teacher, this like seeker of knowledge, encouraging others to become so attuned with the Force, to follow the Force, and to set their own path and learning it their own path. Like, she wasn't one to tell them, hey, this is what you need to do.
Right.
No, you need to learn it for yourself. You need to meditate.
Yes.
Meditate.
Yep.
Spend time
Figure
with
out the answer yourself. Learn about yourself so that you can. I'm not going to spoon feed this to you.
No. Thank you for listening to Sisterhood of the Traveling Bantha, written and produced by Denise McKay.
Edited and produced by Rexy Jupiter. Original logo designed by Tyler Rigney.
Intro and outro music is provided by the Galactic Empire.
You can find us on all streaming platforms at Travel and Bantha.
And join our Discord for fun-filled galaxy chats.
You can also sign up for our Patreon starting at just $3. You get exclusive episodes, merch, behind the scenes, and more.
And a special thanks to all our Jedi Knight members and higher. We have Rooney, Michael Beavers, Mark Collier, and James Peake. From our galaxy to yours,
may the Force be with you.
Always.